Ladies and gentlemen, football fans of North Central Ohio, you are now entering the Friday Night Pigskin. So get strapped in, lay some tide and get right for big hits, top plays, and highlights. All coming your way from under the Friday Night Lights. The most exciting sounds and sights, gridiron action to serve your viewing delights. Let's go. Friday Night Lights. Get hype, it's Friday night. Friday Night Lights. Get hype, here we go now. Friday Night Lights. Get hype, it's Friday night. Friday Night Lights. Get hype, here we go now. He's at the 10, the 5, touchdown! Throws it over the middle and he gets absolutely sauced. Friday Night Lights. Get hype, it's Friday night. Friday Night Lights. Get hype, here we go now.
Ballinger moves to the far side of the field. Wayne Ball will keep the football. Jukes out one. To the 40 he goes. Here goes the wheels for the Centerburg quarterback. He's inside the 5. Is he there? Yes, he is. Touchdown, Centerburg.
So many weapons on this Centerburg team. The confetti flies again as you just saw it go across your screen. And what a play by Ball to recognize that it was not there for Marshall. Great attempt at the end. I mean, not attempt, great success, as we would say, on reaching the ball over the pylon. And now they'll go for 2 again to make it a 3-score game.
And the
How about the Trojans off and running tonight at the Castle? We've got that highlight coming up real soon, and we've got conference games going down tonight. all around the Buckeye State. That's right. Week number 4 of the Friday Night Pigskin. Kick it into your living room, smartphone, wherever you're watching from. We appreciate you burning the midnight oil with us right here. I am Brian Skowronski, your host, and boy, we had a lot of either lopsided affairs or some really good games on our airwaves tonight. So you're going to see highlights, a bunch coming from the MOAC. My game over at the Colt Corral came down to the final seconds. You're definitely going to want to see how that one ended between Ontario and Clear Fork. And the battle for MOAC supremacy went down tonight. 2 3-0 teams in Galleon and Shelby. That one was tied going into the fourth quarter. That is all coming up here on the way. But we've got, back by popular demand, since we haven't had it yet this season, I'm going to start the show by kicking it over to K-Mac Corner. That's right. We've got Travis Berardi and Jonathan Langdon, the K-Mac Trav, and the man that he passed the torch onto down in K-Mac country. And boy, what a night tonight, and a couple of games that I think might surprise some folks when they see the final result.
Yeah, we had, a special night in Howard. We had a big night at the Castle, but not for the folks of the Castle, and a quite the coming out performance down the road at Mount Gilead High School. Jonathan, this is why I've given you the reins of K-Mac Langdon.
Too much
because
is happening at
so
once.
much great things that come out of the Knoxmar Athletic Conference.
Yes. From last year, it feels like things have flipped, and we're going to get to that in a moment, but we've got plenty of highlights.
Yeah.
We covered 6 of the 8 teams in the KMAC tonight for week 3. We'll also have another coach on the line that we're going to talk to momentarily.
An old friend I got to talk to earlier in the KMAC preview. But let's start off down at Howard, Ohio. The Bulldogs, a very tough non-conference schedule. They were only down 14-12 to Colonel Crawford, who had a big win tonight. They have a chance of doing something special this year. Ended up losing, getting blown out of that one. Winford, it was a tough game for them. And then another 1-point loss to Northridge. But can the Bulldogs recover and start K-Mac play off on the right foot? Let's get to the highlights and show you just that as they took on the Loudonville Redbirds, who 2-1.
Yeah.
2-1 this season. But you know what? I was even more surprised at how Loudonville has been playing. They had a blowout 60-0 victory over Mapleton that the Fantastic 50 said, they were underdogs for that game. They then, beat Richmond Heights 42-14 for their second win. And then they went to Hillsdale, a team that went to the Final Four last year, a team that, has everybody back. They put up a fight against them. Some penalties really hurt them last week. Hillsdale, as expected, with the victory. They only had, I think, 40 yards of offense in the first half. But this is a Loudonville squad completely turned around. Like you said, there's turnarounds in this conference this season. And, they just had a big turnaround here, 2-1. But it was just a good matchup between these two teams.
Yeah.
East Knox trying to get in there and Loudonville trying to bounce back. Let's take a look at the highlights. First play of the game, and it's a fumble. Rush Beatty picks it up right into his hands. 3 plays later, they're going to cash in. Jax Lester doing Jax Lester things, throwing down the seam route to Dakota Cooper. 52 yards. It is 7-0 Bulldogs just like that. Later in the quarter, Lester's going to find another one of his receivers. Well, it's the guy who got the fumble, Beatty. Beyond the secondary, 38 yards, 14-0 Dogs. After Loudonville muffed the ensuing kickoff, Lester makes them pay with the third different receiver. This time it's Logan Clark. Jax threading the needle, 22 yards. It is 20-0, but the Redbirds back at you. 4th and 2 from the 5. Braylon Kaufman gets the first and more, powering his way to pay dirt, 20-7. Late in the half now, Loudonville threatening to make it a 1-score game. 4th and 3, Kaufman will get the first. Wait, it's another fumble. One of 5 Redbird turnovers on the night. East Knox escapes 20-7 at the half. Then in the third, Lester with the dagger goes deep for Clark. He hauls it in and drags his defender into the end zone. 27-7. East Knox gets win number 1 on the season. 27-12. Jonathan, that is what East Knox was expecting from Lester and company this season.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why he's the leading passer in the KMAC.
Yes, he is.
At the end of week 4, he came into it as well as the leading passer. He's got some weapons. He's starting to use them. Of course, he had Logan Clark a couple weeks in non-conference play, got to use him a lot, but now you're starting to get Beatty into the offense.
Yes, you are.
A couple of other pieces as well that are really starting to click for this East Knox team as they get into KMAC play.
Lester, who you will see, here's a hit for the Phenoms on Monday, 14 of 24, 228 through the air, 4 tutties. Also on the defensive end, he had a pick, and then late in the game, he lit up a receiver legally. The receiver bobbled it, turned into an interception that iced the game. But that wasn't the most important part of this, because some things are even greater than football. As most of everybody knows in KMAC country, Aiden Riggle, senior captain of the team, was diagnosed with adenosarcoma. I think that's how they say it.
Adenocarcinoma.
Carcinoma, yes. It's a cancer. He's been at Children's Hospital in Columbus valiantly fighting it. He's going to beat this. I believe he can beat this. But he was on the field. He was in the captain's line for the coin flip. He was on the sidelines with his team, and I think it kind of lit him up. It lit him up for the good. It fired them up, and that's what helped out. Jax Lester was our MVP. I got to actually ask him a question about it because, this team's like a family, and, well, we'll let Jax explain exactly.
Great sight before the game. Captain's going out there. Aiden was there with you guys. I know it's been a tough season so far, but to see him out there, I saw him celebrating with you guys. I know this is not only a big win for you guys, but for him as well. Just if you can, just talk about how great of a night this is all around, especially with him in attendance.
Yeah, we all love Rig. I mean, he's like a backbone of a Bulldog. He's exactly what a Bulldog is. I mean, him still showing up means the world to us. I mean, we're doing it for him. He's our brother.
Brother indeed, and I just have to shout out not only the players, but the coaching staff too. This is, like I said, more than football, a tough situation all around. It could have done one of two things. It could have, just brought the team apart. Yeah, they had 3 tough losses, but it's brought this team together. The coaching staff has done a phenomenal job, Coach Beatty too, of trying to keep, his boys focused in this. And, just having him there, East Knox getting the big victory, keeps them in the playoff picture. That's some bonus points. But if you start 0-4, you're not going to make the postseason. So everything there, just shout out to the whole team, to the whole community, to the coaching staff for rallying around. And hopefully this is just for the better, and East Knox continues to roll like this because they have a really good team. But do you know who else has a really good team, Jonathan? You got to see them tonight. That's the Centerburg Trojans. That's a team I think could win the KMAC, and they showed why tonight.
Yes, exactly right. Centerburg took on Northmore. We know how that happened last year.
Twice.
But yeah, one of the best games in the KMAC last year. Well, I'll say it was lived up to the hype as well, but in a different way that you're going to see in these highlights as we roll the clips. How about the paragliders coming in
cool.
to start out the
was
day?
Pumped to have this.
Yeah, so shout out Natalia Vilichenko and Nicole Condry landing over at the castle, bringing it in the right way as we start out the highlights, and we see a 4th down and 1 on the opening drive. I am never doubting Andy Colella again. Miles Marshall takes it 63 yards. And Rich Porter, the AD, gets a nice high five from his man, Miles, who had a real big game in this one. You're going to see the 2nd rushing touchdown as well for him just in the first quarter alone as the quarter winds down. 16-0 after 2 two-point conversions are converted. Northmore, next drive, able to respond well to try and keep them within striking distance as Brad Bolin runs up on the football, makes the catch, gets into the end zone, and halves the deficit. We never showed 2-point conversions, but I wanted to show a little bit of trickery as Bolin, the backup QB, takes a little deflection and also gives it off to Stockdale for the 2-point conversion. But Jax Ballinger, how about it? He's a D1
Go to
recruit
West Virginia
for a reason. You see the beautiful play right there. You'll see that plenty more times next week as a top play. Stockdale on 4th down up the seam, able to find a touchdown. That would make it 22-14. 22-15. They went and kicked the extra point. Marshall, back to it. This is still the second quarter, folks. Fantastic game over at the Castle. Marshall gets his 3rd touchdown of the day. He wouldn't be done yet. And as we ring in the 3rd quarter, could it get any crazier than that first half?
A kickoff return in a Centerburg Northmore game? Is this one legal?
Brad Bowen able to break loose, gets to the inside, and yes, the answer to that question, Travis, is yes.
More like
it
a Brad
was
Bowen
legal.
ball there.
They kept it. The points counted. We sit in a 30-20 2 game. Blaine Ball, it was your call of the night. Jukes out a man, uses his speed to get all the way to the end zone here. Look at the athleticism, staying in bounds, able to get the touchdown. Ball, his only touchdown of the game. He would go ahead and go back to his running back, though. Marshall would run this one in. That's the last score of the game in the third quarter.
Yeah.
And Northmore gets a late touchdown at the very end, actually with zeros on the clock. They score that final touchdown to make it 44-27. Win for Centerburg, and I just feel like they're going to start breaking away. It just has to be that way when they take down a Northmore team that went unbeaten in the KMAC.
They still have a really
and they
good
go to
defense.
their place and win it.
Yeah. It was about time to see Marshall go off like that. The first few weeks, they didn't need him as much. Maybe the Johnstown game, but Johnstown's a really good team. They lost in overtime to Mount Vernon tonight. But other than that game, Centerburg's doing what I expected Centerburg to do. They were young last year. They still made the playoffs. They had some extra practice because of that playoff extra week, extra 2 weeks. But, they just seem like they have a complete squad, Jonathan.
Yeah, so Northmore takes the loss here. A couple of empty possessions that they left on the table. They got close to scoring a few touchdowns, and that ended up being the difference today. So Northmore not able to get the win for Morrow County, but you know who did get the win for Morrow County?
Mike Reed's Mount Gilead Indians. KMAC Plus is here. He is pumped up, the Mount Gilead alum, but what a game. Mount Gilead squeaking out the 26-22 victory over Danville. It was a little bit closer than what the final was actually, because Mount Gilead had a multiple score lead going late into the game. But the Indians are 4-0. They have their signature win so far, because Danville, not a slouch. Yeah, they lost some players from their Final Four team last year, but they're still Danville. They're still a good squad. They fought back and beat Lucas, who won 62-0 against Van Loo tonight, by the way. But this is a Mount Gilead squad playing with a chip on their shoulder. Thought, they're so close to making the postseason finally for this team, but 4-0. It's phenomenal for them.
And Mike Reed, the maestro right now for this Mount Gilead group. I was ready for them to go 3-0. I had the stat ready. I knew it was for the first time since 2011. I didn't think we were going to get to this point, going 4-0. I have no clue. Do you know? How long it's been since Mount Gilead went 4-0?
Either the AD posted today that it's the first time ever.
Maybe the first time ever. That's some history that we have here on the OH Report, and it sets up a huge game next week at Mount Gilead, because they're going to take on 4-0 Fredericktown. Blank Cardington at Cardington, 21-0 tonight. And, well, we have another guest, because we're going to cover all 4 games. The head coach of the Fredericktown Freddies, Scott Spittler, joining us right now on the call after their 21-0 victory. Coach, congratulations. How does it feel to have your Freddies 4-0 right now?
Oh, I'm pretty proud of the boys. They've bought in and they're working really hard and taking each week a game at a time and just trying to be a better version of themselves each week.
Coach, it's hard for me not to notice how dominant your defense has been as of late. I feel like every single stat leader for sacks is a Fredericktown Freddy. Just talk to me about how that was instilled in the summer and what's really getting executed well to get you guys to 4-0.
Well, my defense coordinator, Kevin Berry, and my defensive staff, they've done a nice job of getting the kids to buy into what we want to do defensively. And it really starts with being unselfish and the guys playing for each other. And, kind of the 111th, if they're supposed to hold a gap or squeeze a gap, they do that. If they're just doing their 111th. But the guys it's kind of like pushing each other to be the best they can be, because they want to one-up each other. And there's a standard that they're establishing as a group that they want to uphold, and it's nice to see them work each week.
And, it showed tonight, Coach. Wyatt Denny from Cardington coming into this game, averaging 196 yards per game. You pretty much kept him in check and shut him down. What was the game plan coming into this game to, pretty much focus on him? Because this is a team, they have their line back, they have the best rusher in the KMAC back, and you guys were able to keep him out of the end zone.
Well, it's actually a little tougher job than just concentrating on him, because their quarterback, Josh Goers, is a pretty good athlete himself. And a nice little 1-2 punch there in the backfield. And but we've been a little bit at times, but the guys just kept giving this ball back to the offense. We were we kind of left some points on the field there in the first half. We stalled a 4th and goal on the 1 and didn't get in, and then we had a touchdown pass called back right before half. But they just kept giving us the ball back, give us an opportunity to get our mind right and get our act together on offense, and we were able to do that in the third quarter and put the game away.
And this coach sets up a really exciting week 5 for you guys as you're going to get set to take on Mount Gilead. I don't think anybody really expected both of these teams to be where they are right now, and I would not be surprised at all if this game ends up being 6-0.
Just with how 45-minute game, because you guys like to run the ball.
How these two defensive have just been clicking as of late. What's kind of the angle now as you guys get ready for a team like Mount Gilead that is a real wild card this year?
They're going to be a handful. We got to go over to their place. Coach Reed is a phenomenal coach, has done a great job with their program. They're big, they're physical, they want to run the football. It might be one of the quickest games next Friday. But we're going to have our hands full. But we've got to get to work and get better this week and put our best version next week on the field and see where it falls.
And I know that our producer Adam Thompson is hoping that case is true, that this game will be the quickest moving of the week. He's going to be there to cover that for you. So,
yeah, Coach, I know you told me in the preseason show for the KMAC that you had to step away. You had some things you needed to take care of. But now that you're 4 weeks into your return season at Fredericktown, a school that you know well, just how's it feel to be back, back in the saddle and back with a team that you know very well?
I just enjoy the opportunity to, be around the kids, have an impact with them, and try to do what I can do and get my staff to do what we can do to make our kids be successful, because that's what it's about, and try to raise good young men. And, we're never going to be perfect, but we're going to work really hard to be the best that we can be.
Well, Coach, you got your squad out to a 4-0 start, and you got yourselves a great matchup coming up next week. You'll see it live on the OH Report. Coach Scott Spittler, enjoy the night. I know you're probably going to get right into game film, get ready for next week, but enjoy it, and thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
All right, head coach Scott Spittler, the 4-0 Fredericktown Freys. How about them Freddies? One of the best matchups already, week 5, will be then versus Mount Gilead. Any final words here in KMAC Corner before we send it back to the boss man?
I just want to leave a comment that the two teams that were at the top of the league last year are both 0-1 as they get ready to face each other next Friday. We'll have more in Danville.
We'll have that game live and free for you as well on the OH Report. But Brian, that was just a few of the great games tonight. We have a lot more to come, especially a highlight you have right now.
That's right, we're about to get into some Mo action, but I got to steal a little thunder from KMAC Corner and let you guys know that Mount Gilead indeed has been 4-0 before. That was back in 2011. So it's been a while, but not that long. They beat Ridgedale 33-8 on September 16th back then to go 4-0, and they are back in that position again, setting up an undefeated versus undefeated game, which we're going to talk about here in a minute in the MOAC. But I want to begin down in Belleville, where they've got the World's Fair going on. Just an absolutely jam-packed house, and everybody was really excited to see this Clear Fork team who nearly pulled off an unbelievable come-from-behind win on the road at Lexington last week. They still had a couple of wins, taking on Richland County rival Ontario, who's beat them 3 in a row, and they're riding a 2-game win streak into town. And I was there, of course, for the action. No better run out onto the field than what you get down there in the valley. That's right, it was Patriot Night, so there's all the American flags out there. But Ontario, as mentioned, they've had the run of play here lately, looking for a 4th straight win over Clear Fork, and I think they might have been sick to start things off, because the Big O in business. Porter Schmidt fumbles the football, opening snap of the game. Warriors recover. They get a Cooper field goal, but the Colts would fire right back. Ensuing drive, big play, Devin Oswald off the jet sweep. This dude runs like a jet, hitting the turbo boosters. He sizzles 48 yards for the touchdown. Now off an interception, Clear Fork, 1st and goal from the 1. You're like, man, check them into the zone. No, they come up empty, bad snap. They would miss a 46-yard field goal, so the score remains 7-3 at the break. Warriors, they would get the ball, but only for 11 seconds. Track star Trey Fowler on the hop from his own 9. He makes a cut, and nobody got the angle on this kid. 91 yards for the tutty. It's a 10-7 edge now for Ontario. But again, the Clear Fork offense answering the bell. Immediately, Schmidt ripping through an arm tackle. He regains the lead. 14-10 midway through the third. That's the same score. We're all the way now in the closing seconds. Sophomore Trey Remy to the end zone. John Mahan for the touchdown, and Ontario stunning the Stampede. Game-winning touchdown. Oh, wait. Did you see the flag? Offensive pass interference negates what would have been the game-winning score. They called multiple defensive PIs. Little hand fighting there. 2 snaps later, the throw into heavy traffic. It's picked off. Trey Remy with his 5th interception thrown of the night. Jacob Brokaw bringing this one in, and the Colts survive the game 14-10. It was one of those games that was not pretty. Over 100 yards of penalties for Clear Fork, and a lot of those coming at inopportune moments. And then on the flip side, of course, 7 turnovers for Ontario, 5 of them from the right arm of the sophomore quarterback Trey Remy, who had 3 consecutive interceptions at one point. But guess what? They still could have won the game at the end, and I don't know, you can make your own determination on if that's offensive pass interference there at the end of the game on the line, 20 seconds to go, and that's kind of what determined it. So Clear Fork, breathing a sigh of relief as they've got all the festivities going on right now in Belleville. The streets are shut down, and I guarantee you that they're out there. They're partying. They're enjoying this one. And my MVP for the game, Marcus Hoflick, who was sensational as a ball carrier out of the quarterback position and then also on defense. He said that Coach was giving them the opportunity, celebrate on Friday night, ring that bell, and then early into Saturday morning, and then get refocused. And coming up next for Clear Fork, they've got Pleasant. They're going to have to go and take them on outside of the Colt Corral. But a very winnable game for them because Pleasant has been stumbling a little bit so far out of the gates, and they've got a coach that's in like a weird situation, and they were on the road tonight in Caledonia to take on River Valley, and we sent Josh Banks over there, our Marion County Now correspondent, if you will. And I've got Josh on the line to set this one up. So Pleasant, River Valley, 2 teams desperately in need of getting some momentum tonight, Josh, and each of them coming out fighting and scrapping in this game.
Yeah, both teams on 2-game losing streaks after winning their opening week and really needed a bounce back victory. And the moving pictures will show you exactly how it happened, kind of similar to yours. It was a dominating performance by the River Valley defenses, honoring all the veterans tonight as well at River Valley Stadium where the Vikings, and they might compete with that Clear Fork run out, Brian. Pretty impressive over there in Caledonia as well. But Pleasant's going to strike first. Ryan Conway, their big back's going to take it in from about 3 yards out. He's going to put Pleasant up 7-0 as the extra point is good. Doesn't take River Valley long to answer, though. And when they put 6'4", 260 in the backfield, J.J. Walton, you're not stopping him. He'll punch it in from 2. They'll knot things up at 7 apiece. Now you're going to see Walton again. Hey, if they're inside the 5, expect them to go heavy. J.J. Walton's going to get the ball, and he'll punch it into the end zone for you, his 2nd of the night. But Weston Schaefer on a 3rd and 27 is going to take off for 65 yards. He doesn't score, but he sets up, as you'll see on the next highlight, a Ryan Conway touchdown, his 2nd of the evening, and it's all knotted up at 14. By the way, it's not even halftime yet. But River Valley answers as Chase Smith finds Carter Myers. Carter Myers is just that guy at receiver. He breaks 2 tackles, sidesteps another one, and takes it in from 32 yards out. River Valley goes up 21-14, and that would be the final as the Vikings bounce back. Their defense is phenomenal. They give up less than 200 yards of offense tonight.
Yeah, we saw them week 1, and they looked really good against Elgin. You were here on the show with me about 10 feet away, and you were really singing the praises on both sides of the football. And tonight, they hold a Pleasant team to under 200 yards of offense, so a good bounce back in terms of the win. And now, heading into a game against Harding, who's 1-3 on the season, does it feel like the defense maybe can carry this team a little ways and just keep rowing that Viking ship to a couple more victories here?
Yeah, it feels like the defense really is going to have to be the ones to step up. Again, you have a senior quarterback in Chase Smith, but he hasn't played since seventh grade. The mistakes that he makes are him staring down the receivers and making predictable passes. He threw another pick tonight. They also had a fumble tonight. So that's 9 picks over 3 games for Chase. You're not going to win very many games in the MOAC if you're going to do that. But if their defense can continue to play that well, they'll be able to be competitive.
And the MOAC, it just seems like it's loaded right now. There's about 4 or 5 teams legitimately that we feel can make a contribution to the title chase when it's all said and done. So let's actually just show the next highlight here, Josh. And I'll keep you on with me because the game of the night within the league, the only 2 undefeateds met tonight over at the Whippet Athletic Conference. Shelby, the #1 team in the state in Division 4, taking on another top 10 team in Gallion. And Gallion opens things up, and actually Aiden Schmidt to Cameron Kuhlman here gives them the lead on their opening drive. But you already know Braden DeVito and the boys, they go bounce back. That's right. He finds Michael Shepard. They would miss the PAT, though, so it's 7-6. Gallion still in front. Kuhlman, again, ripping off a big run here. He'll take it 35 yards to the crib, 14-6, end of 1. Tigers on top on the road, but DeVito opening up the second quarter. He was the second leading rusher in the MOAC going into tonight. He gets in there, 2-point conversion ties this baby up. Our cameras only catch the tail end of this play, but Gallion Schmidt connects to Jacob Chambers. He's our big play threat in the passing game. He proves it right there. 32-yarder to put him back on top by a score. Shelby would respond, though. 15 yards from Gavin Baker, surging through the hole and just keeps the legs a-churning. 21-20, that's the score at the break. Second half now, Gallion. Here's Schmidt connecting with Chambers again. I mentioned he's a big play threat, right? 61-yarder this time. They go on top by 8. Only 51 seconds here into the third quarter. But Shelby, they would tie the game. Not that long later, it's 28 apiece. DeVito to Avery Lambert from 7. They get the 2-point conversion. And Shelby takes their first lead of the night now early in the fourth. 35-28, DeVito back into the end zone for the second time with his legs. Shelby then forces a safety, making the score 37-28, and then they would add to their lead. DeVito again is going to get in here from 10 yards out, along with a successful 2-point conversion to pretty much put the game on ice. There was only 3 minutes to go, but with 58 seconds left, Gallion, they're still fighting, man. Schmidt to Chambers again, third time. What a gorgeous catch, too. 45-34, that is your final. A wealth of highlights in this game here tonight, but the Whippets, they come out on top, Josh, and anytime that you're crowned the #1 team in Division 4, you better come out and play like it, and I really like that Shelby, they got a test tonight. They had to come from behind for the first time all season, and we see them rise to the occasion. What do they do when it matters most? Their senior quarterback, who's a D1 commit, he takes over and has a big game, and I think that this is kind of what the Hungry Hounds and their collective fan base, they wanted to see a game like this, and they get it done, checking a box.
Yeah, and I think the most exciting thing is to think that we're going to have Shelby Clear Fork later on, and that Clear Fork defense is one of the best in the MOAC. Braden DeVito and Brady Bowman and Marshall Shepard are all going to do their things, but they're going to run into that team eventually. That's defense is going to make them compete even more. They scored 45 tonight, and Gallion scored 35. Clear Fork's going to look to beat them like they beat Ontario tonight, a 17-10, a 21-14 type game. And that, I think that's the MOAC matchup that I am most excited for as we run down the last 6 weeks of the season.
Yeah, Gallion's going to be at Ontario, so the Warriors going to get another taste of home cooking where they had a big game against Madison just last week. So I'm going to be interested to see how the Tigers respond from a game where they gave it their best shot all the way down to the wire. Meanwhile, Shelby, they're at home again. They've got Highland and then at River Valley before they get a take on Clear Fork in a couple of weeks. So you don't overlook anybody, but if you can read the tea leaves, probably a couple of victories going into that Clear Fork game. And then the Colts, too, they've got 2 very winnable games, Pleasant and then Harding on the schedule, so it could set up that second mega matchup, potentially two teams that are still undefeated in the MOAC, and that one can probably go a long way to determining what we're going to see when the picture is starting to come a little bit more in focus. But a long way to go, of course, Josh, in this MOAC. But I do think, K-Mac Corner makes a great point. I think that that's going to be a really fun race, but the MOAC, it might be a little bit more exciting this season just because I think Galleon proved that they're going to be in it to the very last day, and then Clear Fork surviving like they did tonight. I think that a couple of outcomes for each of these teams tonight can kind of propel them moving forward, and very much looking forward to seeing how this one kind of all unwinds as the season rolls along.
Yeah, as am I. I think the MOAC, the KMAC's great. We know it's one of the best small conferences in the state. The MOAC has the bigger schools, and we didn't expect it to be this good this year. We expected Shelby to run away with it. They got tested tonight, and they're going to get tested again down the road. So to know that it's anybody can beat anybody even any given night makes it even more fun, and we get to cover most of those games all year, and it's going to be a blast.
Definitely is. All right, thanks a lot for hanging out with us here tonight. Josh, in the Mo action, we're going to take a quick time out. We'll be back. I've got your winners from week number 3 for your Friday Night Phenoms, as well as your top plays of the week. Plus, so many highlights, it's going to make your head spin. We're not even close to done. We've got all the Birds of Prey still on the way. We've got the Hillsdale Falcons, Big Walnut Golden Eagles, and Colonel Crawford, and another matchup of two undefeated teams for first place in the Northern 10. You can catch all that on the other side of a quick TO.
Hey, does your checking account pay you with real cash rewards with no monthly maintenance fees ever? Bummer. Ask for Kasasa Rewards Checking. It's our superpower.
You have better things to do than to job hunt or scramble to find your next great hire. So let Spherion do it. We say local is our superpower because we live and work where you live and work. We know the Mid-Ohio job market, and we're locally owned. So you won't find a partner who's more engaged and literally invested in your success. If you're ready for something better, start with Spherion. Visit us online at midohiojobs.net or call 419-747-7479.
Hi guys, I need you all to have a foam finger. At Mechanics Bank, we're all about the community. Whether it's supporting our local teams or cheering you on in life, we're here for you in every victory, big or small. Mechanics Bank! That's better.
At Avita Home Health and Hospice, our caring professionals are ready to serve you with personally tailored services designed to meet the unique needs of each individual. When we take on a patient at Avita Home Health and Hospice, they really do feel like family. So when we take care of our family, we want to take care of the whole person. So we take care of them from our nurses, our aides, our physical, occupational, and speech therapists, but we also have people that tend to their hearts. So we have social workers, we have chaplains, and people that can help with the emotional side of their care.
At Avita Home Health and Hospice, we have a dedicated team that takes care of you. Caring for the whole person is our promise to you. From social and emotional well-being to the way the patient relates to their loved ones, we treat your family like our family.
Serving patients and their families wherever they call home, including assisted living facilities and nursing homes. Call 1-800-4NURSES to see if Avita can help administer your plan of custom care.
In business and ag banking, it's not just about the numbers, it's about the people. At First Federal Community Bank, we believe relationships are the foundation of every successful partnership. We can help you grow your farm through various ag programs, including working with our local FSA offices, as well as Farmer Mac. We have many commercial business programs to help make your day-to-day operations easy and convenient. Because when you bank with us, you're not just a customer, you're family.
When it comes to comfort, every degree matters. At Buckeye Horizon, we proudly install and maintain Trane heating and cooling systems built to last, engineered for performance. And with our expert service, your home stays comfortable year-round. No matter the season, we'll keep your system running at its best. Call Buckeye Horizon at 419-529-2738, your local Trane comfort specialist.
But week 3 was pretty awesome too, and we had a lot of killer performances that you guys had the opportunity to vote on last week. So let's get right into it. Your Friday night phenom from week number 3, and the winner is, drumroll please, Jackson Gayhart from Seneca East. How about a defender coming through on top? I love it, man. Tough nose, physical kid, 16 tackles, 7 of them coming in the backfield, and a lot of just really aggressive ones. You see, when 44 hits you, it looks a little bit different. He's like an actual tiger out there in the jungle, and that's why he's your winner from week number 3. We also give you guys the opportunity to look at the best individual play which we'll get to in a second, but we've got some fancy new highlights, and look at this, man. So people actually ask me pretty regularly, they're like, okay, well, how close was the vote? Not that close this week. How about 40% and 116 of them all going to Jackson? You'll see that there's a lot out there for the orange and the offish reddish orange too. We'll figure out exactly who those guys are. You can if you look on our countdown exactly who the players were. But all that really matters is number 6, Jackson Gayhart, got the most of the most. And as mentioned too, the best individual efforts and the best individual plays are put on a platter for you guys, and you get to determine what was the very best. So here is your top play winner from the week that was, number 3. And here it goes. Siren Wallace, boom! Sit down right there, and then plus, turning on the sirens out there on the turf down on Tough Street as he cooks it. Zoom, bring in the boom right here, runs through an arm tackle, and then you already know that he's got this in his back pocket. 56 yards, he's in there for the score. That is your top play from week number 3. And this is how it all melted down. If we want to see the results from the votes. Cy, this was a much closer race than we had. Only 27% going on in this one. And there was a lot of others in there that were very much in the mix. So Cy Wallace and Danville, their fans, they always show out in the chat section for us. And they pushed the sophomore over the top this week. Well, just about every week, the Hillsdale Falcons, they have a player that's up for either the Friday Night Phenom or they've got top plays, etc., just about every single week of the season. And they've just been hammering Chippewa in their head-to-head matchups in the WCAL. They got them at home tonight in a Chippy squad that had only scored, I think, like 6-7 points coming into tonight's game. So let's show you the moving pictures from this one and how the Falcons flew out to a big victory at home. Everyone's impressed with the grand entry of the teams, and how can you not be impressed with the brother connection right here? Kale rolling out, that's Knox, didn't even have to move. Looks so simple. 9 yards, they would tack on a 2-point conversion. It's 8-zip. Owen Sloan's like, well, let's push out that lead right here. 16 yards, whoop, the cutback, and then the strength, reaching over the pylon. He gets in to make it 14-0. Kel Lewis later on, gonna drop back, clean pocket, steps up. You know he's got a great arm, 35-yard pass, and Kyle Turk makes the adjustment. Flag on the play, too. Lewis with a beautiful dime right there, and guess what? He's not even close to done. 14 yards this time to Trevor Robinell to make it 28-zip, and the Falcons, they are soaring high. This is still very early in the ball game. We're gonna show you a 43-yard field goal, only because they struggled a little bit on the extra points. But with the long ones, Bowman was an ace. It was 31-zip at this point, but Brock Bauer now taking it 26 yards, carrying the defenders the last couple to get them in. Mikey Schenenbarger is going to get in on the action coming up here from just 3 yards out. It would be 44-0. I mean, we're pretty much in victory formation to start the second half. So the Falcons get it done. They're undefeated. 53-0. The MVP of the night, Kale Lewis. He had 4 touchdown passes, 148 yards. And a fun fact, Chippewa has not scored against Hillsdale in 3 seasons in a row. So I mentioned that the Falcons, they've been having the run of play lately in this head-to-head. That is a pretty extraordinary stat. 3 consecutive shutout victories, and that's why Coach Klein and his boys, they figure to be one of the top teams all season long, coming off of that state runner-up appearance and wanting to build off of that because just about the entire collection of talent is back. We've been talking about it at length here on the Friday Night Pigskin and on the OH Report. So congratulations to the Falcons on another big win, and hopefully they can continue to get healthy. But other guys getting in the lineup in Hayden McFadden's absence, they did not need him tonight to be a big-time, prime-time performer. There definitely was one in Delaware tonight where Big Walnut went across town. This is a huge rivalry game. So the Eagles taking on the Pacers. Bryce Coder, of course, your Golden Eagle reporter extraordinaire with the great-looking hair, the beard dialed in nicely as well, Bryce. That's right. And a big game. You had to walk, 30 feet from your apartment to get over to the complex tonight?
Yeah, well, I am the Big Walnut guy. I actually live in Delaware City. I actually live close to the middle school near here, so I can actually see the field from my apartment. Very close for me, actually the least amount of time I've ever spent traveling, so great for me, but I think great football all the way around.
I got to see it, man, to believe it. The birthday boy, we just celebrated one last week over in K-Mac Quarter with Jonathan, and now you, Bryce. So welcome to another year around the sun, man. Happy for you.
Thank you. I am dismayed to say 30, but we're excited.
Attaboy. All right, let's see these moving pictures.
So starting things off, a little bit of a fumble, keeping things in his hands, though. It's Nolan Burley for 25 yards. Get used to hearing that name, though. You're going to hear it quite a bit throughout this highlight. Going for 2 now, handing it right off to Nolan Burley. Gives him an 8-0 lead. Then, once again, Nolan Burley takes it up the middle, being dragged all the way back, goes laterally about 30 yards, and then finds his way into the end zone by the way of the pylon. As the great Christopher Walken said, "I've got a fever, and the only medicine is more Nolan Burley touchdowns," or something like that. Here's one for 69 yards. Total on the night, 250 yards. He averaged 17.9 yards per carry in this one, a total of 5 touchdowns to his record. Next up, a 29-yard touchdown after this 2-point conversion to Owen Pollock, who receives it over the middle. But again, getting things started for Nolan. Next up, this big one here. He kicks things off, or rather caps things off with an 81-yarder. I believe this was his last play of the night where they finally capped things off. But look at that speed, just off to the races, 100-meter dash, all the way downhill for the touchdown. Now it's Braden Neverman getting another look at someone down the list on the guys, but Braden Neverman getting the look. Normally plays defensively, but offensively getting the look at running back as well. Cooper Fry finally rounds things out. Game final was 45-7 for Big Walnut. Notably, Ohio State commit Favor Aki, injured in week 1, actually the first play against Buckeye Valley. Did not play tonight, but he has indicated in the past that this isn't a serious injury, just a high ankle sprain. They want to make sure that he's 100% before he gets back on the field. But, I mean, that really affected how things played tonight. Delaware Hayes really struggling to get things going. I think they only had a total of 200 yards total on the game, and only about 102 of them were rushing yards. So I think a lot to be desired in that game, but still I think a lot for them to look forward to as well, because they had a lot of guys younger on down on, who were contributing big ways offensively and defensively.
Bryce, I'm getting a little bit of a case of that deja vu that I hear people talk about, where I feel like I've lived this story before. So Big Walnut, tough loss to Bishop Watterson, who, again, undefeated here, 4-0 at this point in the season. And now all of a sudden, the Eagles over the last several weeks, they're scoring about 42 points per game, and they've only allowed 17 points since that loss in week 1. So again, we thought it was going to be a really special team, and they're starting to showcase it and getting into a really nice groove here. Mid-season form, I think you might say.
I would say so. And, at this point last year, week 4, this Big Walnut team was starting to figure out how good of a football team they actually were. And you could see that over time. Teams that they would decimate now were really close results that they were able to eke out the victories. But now in week 4, they know how good they were. That tough loss during week 1 to Bishop Watterson, who I believe beat a team 82-0 tonight. And really, they recovered from that nicely. I mean, they were able to put up 2 touchdowns. They got shut out last year against Watterson, but those 2 touchdowns were, huge moral victory for them, and they really know how good of a football team they are, and they're starting to show that against Dunbar. I mean, they won 48-0, and now Delaware Hayes 45-7.
And I think the best sign actually for Big Walnut is they've done most of their good work on the road here. They get a taste of home cooking back-to-back weeks. I know they got a rival coming over to their place next week in Westerville South, so it's kind of lining up for the Eagles again to continue this dominant run here, Bryce. And getting back at home, what type of a different feel and atmosphere is it in Sunbury when they welcome back their Eagles? Because this seems to be a really well-supported group of kids, not just in football, of course, basketball. They've had nice runs, baseball. They've really had it put together. So what type of environment are you expecting when the Wildcats come to town next Friday?
Always supportive every time we go, every single Friday. There's always, it seems like, people tailgating out in the parking lot, always something going on. And especially over the course of the next 2 weeks, because they're going to have military night coming up next. Last year at military night, they had a paratrooper come down from a airplane and land on the field during the national anthem. And then they have homecoming. So they're going to have a ton of hometown support over the course of the next 2 games. And looking forward for the rest of the season, I think they only have 2 away games for the remainder of the season as well. So that really benefits them.
Yeah, 4 out of their next 5 are actually going to be in Sunbury. They do have to travel to Worthington Kilbourne, and they're having a pretty decent season, 3-1 so far, Bryce. But Big Walnut definitely is the favorite to win the OCC again this year, man. So I know it's a little bit late, but go ahead and celebrate your birthday here tonight, Bryce, at about 12:30 a.m. on a Saturday morning, man.
Thanks so much. I'll see you.
All right, I actually will see him here in not too many hours. I'm coming down to Delaware in the morning, buddy, so I am actually going to see you, Bryce.
Yeah, I'll see you then,
but
9
we
a.m.
saw an amazing game tonight. I mentioned that there were multiple games between 2 undefeated teams for conference supremacy. We already showed you the game, Shelby and Galleon, and the Whippets taking the victory. But how about Colonel Crawford and last year's N10 defending champion Mohawk? They met up tonight out in Sycamore, and this one came right down to the wire. That's right, 3-0 versus 3-0 on the gridiron. We got some points early on in this game from the kicking unit. Exactly what you would expect, right? From a Northern 10 showdown. This is Joseph Zizzo, and he barely gets it up and over the upright from 35 yards out. So CC takes a 3-0 edge, but Mohawk and Anden Klaus bounce right back. Takes the lead 7-3. Crawford, though, regained the edge. 22-yard pass, Holt to Parker Weithman, and it is 10-7. How about the seesaw? It swings back to the other side as Klaus continues his awesome season. It is 14-10 now. Warriors out in front, but the Eagles would fly by them. Weithman again getting loose. A 70-yard touchdown return. This midway through the third. We take you early fourth now. Mohawk right on the doorstep, and guess who? Anden Klaus is going to barrel his way in again. Third touchdown of the night for Klaus, but midway through the fourth quarter, the final score would come right here. Peyton Baker zipping his way through the defense. He's out of the back of the end zone, and Colonel Crawford takes the win on the road. The defense shows out at the end of the game, and they keep Mohawk off the board. They're the only undefeated right now in the Northern 10, 24-21. They get the victory on the road tonight. And let's take a look real fast, or I am, and I'm going to tell you about it, at Colonel Crawford and what they have coming up here. Buckeye Central, they're on the road next week. Then they get Bucyrus, and then Seneca East after that. So a couple of winnable games, of course, here for the Eagles as they approach their midseason. And on the flip side of things, for Mohawk, who did win the conference championship last year on the final day of the year in that head-to-head against Seneca East. They, too, have the same 2 teams just in reverse, so Bucyrus, Buckeye Central, and then actually Winford after that. So you could certainly see Mohawk clawing their way right back into the race and getting into this thing. One loss may count you out of it the way that the Eagles are playing, but you certainly have to keep yourself in the conversation, and that is what Mohawk is trying to do. All right, another highlight coming up here. Margaretta was on the road tonight at Willard, and we've got some moving pictures that Travis Berardi is about to showcase with you. Trav, what happened here?
Yeah, but before we get to that real quick, Bryce talked about Bishop Watterson's 81-7 win. That was over Tiffin Columbian tonight. Tough loss for Tiffin Columbian, a team that Margaretta sometimes sees. But Margaretta, you know, a 1-point loss to Vermilion to start the season, but they have been rolling ever since, only giving up 7 points in their next 2 games. Will it be the same against the Willard Crimson Flashes? Well, let's take a look at those beautiful highlights. After a scoreless first quarter, as Willard in those cool camo jerseys, it's Judah Keller. You see him on the basketball court. Well, you see him running 31 yards to the pay dirt, 7-0. Polar Bear defense forces a 3-and-out, which sets up Mr. Keller again, this time from 8 yards out. It is 14-0. After the score, Willard offense trying to get something going through the air. They've done it in the past, but not this time. Cale Bailey, look at him high pointing that one. Pick 6, 43 yards, untouched, 21-0 Margaretta. After another shutdown defensive stand by the Polar Bears, Mr. Keller, he's going to go for his 3rd score of the game on the Statue of Liberty. 19 yards out, 28-0 at the half. Coming out of the half, Margaretta still doing what they want to do. Jake Bowie hits Cale Bailey 64 yards. He's going to outrun his defender. He's gone, 35-0. And then the icing on the cake, Carter Lusiter runs it in from 16 yards out. Margaretta shuts out Willard. Second shutout in 3 games. In that other game, they held Brookside to only 7 points. These are the 3 scores of the last 3 games. 21-0 over Western, 48-7 Brookside, 42-0 over Willard. The Polar Bears are cruising right now, Ski.
Yeah, they look really good. Anytime you can get a shutout victory, I don't care where you're at and who you're playing on their home turf, you got to be excited about it. So trying to put themselves in contention for the SBC championship this season. We'll see if they can continue to keep it rolling. Our next guest has been covering a couple of teams that have definitely been doing just that over in Ashland County. And we will now welcome in Doug Haydet to the program, source reporter extraordinaire. Keeping an eye on a couple of teams tonight, but you actually had your services over in Olivesburg, where Crestview was looking for back-to-back wins, and they didn't just get them. They got them with a lot of fireworks and plenty of excitement for the home fans.
So Crestview comes in, coming off of its first win last week, Keystone. They beat them 28-14, and just excited to get Firelands Conference play rolling. I think head coach Steve Haverdill thinks they can be in the mix for the Firelands this year, and a little bit sloppy early on against New London tonight on their home turf, but kind of ran away with it. I think it was 21-0 at the half, but they did lose a pair of fumbles early on. They had some penalties that he wasn't very happy with. So rarely do you see a coach as frustrated after a 42-0 win as he was tonight, but it still counts the same in the book.
Scoring by committee tonight, the Cougars spread the wealth. You see Aiden Raymer just truck sticking a guy into the end zone there, but they were sprinkling around. We see Kuhn getting to the outside. He's been showcasing that he's got some pretty good wills on the season as well in his last year, now in his senior campaign. But the defense, you really got to enjoy. I was just talking about the fact Margaretta with a shutout win. Anytime you can do that and hold your opponent to nothing, you have to be impressed, even though it sounds like maybe Haverdale wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, they were solid start to finish defensively tonight. I mean, 67 yards of offense was what I had them giving up. New London did not have a rushing first down, didn't get a single first down, or didn't convert a third down until their very last play of the game on a pass. So Aiden Raymer with a couple of interceptions as well. So, yeah, the defense really holding it down. If you throw out the Kirtland game, which Kirtland is Kirtland, obviously, Crestview's only given up 16 points in their 3 other games. So a lot to hang their hats on tonight. But, again, just looking forward to just trying to take care of business. I think they got South Central next week, then Plymouth the following. If they can handle those 2 the way they should be able to, then you've got St. Paul looming after that. So.
Yeah, combined 0-8 over the next couple of weeks, so you would figure Crestview would take care of business as they have done in the past, but that game against St. Paul, you don't want to overlook anybody and step on any toes or anything like that, but certainly you could probably deduce that that one might determine a Firelands Conference championship here in about 3 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I think Monroeville's in there, obviously, and then Western Reserve. I think that's kind of where the FC comes down to. I think the Western Reserve St. Paul is the game that I think there's going to be a lot of eyes on here coming up, too. So definitely seems like it's up for grabs. It seems like it's the top of the league is going to be competitive. The bottom, a lot of shutouts going on right now. So it seems like the wins are pretty easy to come by against the bottom half of the league.
And it seems like wins have certainly been not easy to come by, but they've been coming for Scott Valentine and Ashland now as they continue their regular season win streak. They're well into double digits now, Doug. What's been going on with the Arrows, and how did they get the win tonight?
Yeah, so this one tonight, 14 straight regular season wins. It's their second longest regular season winning streak in program history. The longest one's 21 games. Back to 1950 to 1952. So, yeah, so they broke a tie with another group tonight with that winning streak. But, yeah, similar game tonight to the one they had with Clyde last week. They kind of a choppy start defensively in the first half. Things were pretty interesting there, but for the third time this season, shut out an opponent in the second half. The only points they have allowed in the second half this year were garbage time points against Marion Harding in week 2. So defense really locking it down for them tonight, 34-7. And like I said, I think I said 4 turnovers, interceptions from Gabe Baith and Tanner Wolf, Buda Martin with a couple of forced fumbles, and then you have Gunnar Lacey. He's coming in around 350 career tackles now at linebacker. So defense seems like it's finding its way after halftime every week, and I'm sure Coach V wants to tighten that up a little bit.
Another second half shutout for the A's. They're 4-0 now, but I'm kind of an offensive guy, okay? I want to talk about the weapons. I want to talk about their big gun at the quarterback position. And Nathan Bernhardt, he's starting to take some steps, right? He's getting closer and closer to maybe making some school history here.
Yeah, he's been such a fun player to follow. I've been following his numbers since his sophomore year, game by game, and just watching him climb the ladder. Tonight, a big night. If you're a stat person for him, he goes over 8,200 career yards of offense, which sends him past former Ashland great Taylor Housewright for second all-time in program history. He's trailing only Marcus Fuller there, a 2011 grad. And then he's tied now with Housewright, 90 career touchdowns on offense as well for those two. Also trails Fuller, who had a big career wrapped up, went on to Brown and was quarterback there. So big night again for Nathan Bernhardt, and they didn't put up a ton of offensive numbers tonight. I think he only had like 70 yards passing, but it seemed like they got it done, and the turnovers really kind of led the way.
Back-to-back home games on the way, too, at Community Stadium. They got 1-3 Dover and then Madison. They did actually end up winning tonight against Worcester, but two teams really struggling this season. So certainly you feel like he's probably going to get closer and closer to topping the charts there with some more program history, man. So definitely a fun team to keep an eye on, and really proud for Coach Valentine and that entire team. Kind of elevating their game, I think, here, building off of last season's success, Doug. So we'll be checking back with you and seeing how the Arrows continue and just keep the pulse over there in Ashland, man. We appreciate you checking in with us.
Absolutely. I'll be there next week, so won't be relying so much on folks for stats and assists. I got the phone was going pretty crazy tonight while I was out at Crestview, just trying to keep up with everything, and I've got some great folks helping me out. So it's been fun to follow from afar these last 2 weeks.
All right. Appreciate you filling us in, Doug. Have a good night, buddy.
You got it. Thanks, Bryant.
All right. We got one more timeout to take right now, but still, we got a party on the way. Are you guys tired? No. Better get a Bang energy drink or something flowing through your veins, because Andy Jardy joins the show next.
Hey, does your checking account pay you with real cash rewards with no monthly maintenance fees ever? Bummer. Ask for Kasasa Rewards Checking. It's our superpower.
You have better things to do than to job hunt or scramble to find your next great hire. So let Spherion do it. We say local is our superpower because we live and work where you live and work. We know the Mid-Ohio job market, and we're locally owned. So you won't find a partner who's more engaged and literally invested in your success. If you're ready for something better, start with Spherion. Visit us online at midohiojobs.net or call 419-747-7479.
Supporting our local teams or cheering you on in life, we're here for you in every victory, big or small. Mechanics Bank. That's better.
At Avita Home Health and Hospice, our caring professionals are ready to serve you with personally tailored services designed to meet the unique needs of each individual. When we take on a patient at Avita Home Health and Hospice, they really do feel like family. So when we take care of our family, we want to take care of the whole person. So we take care of them from our nurses, our aides, our physical, occupational, and speech therapists, but we also have people that tend to their hearts. So we have social workers, we have chaplains, and people that can help with the emotional side of their care.
At Avita Home Health and Hospice, we have a dedicated team that takes care of you. Caring for the whole person is our promise to you. From social and emotional well-being to the way the patient relates to their loved ones, we treat your family like our family.
Serving patients and their families wherever they call home, including assisted living facilities and nursing homes. Call 1-800-4NURSES to see if Avita can help administer your plan of custom care.
In business and ag banking, it's not just about the numbers, it's about the people. At First Federal Community Bank, we believe relationships are the foundation of every successful partnership. We can help you grow your farm through various ag programs, including working with our local FSA offices, as well as Farmer Mac. We have many commercial business programs to help make your day-to-day operations easy and convenient. Because when you bank with us, you're not just a customer, you're family.
When it comes to comfort, every degree matters. At Buckeye Horizon, we proudly install and maintain Trane heating and cooling systems built to last, engineered for performance. And with our expert service, your home stays comfortable year-round. No matter the season, we'll keep your system running at its best. Call Buckeye Horizon at 419-529-2738, your local Trane comfort specialist.
Hopefully you left yourself just a little bit of champagne in your glass because we're not done here. No, that's right. We're going to party up by the lake as we welcome in my dear friend, Andy Jardy, for the Jardy Party.
Let's go. How's everybody doing? Hope we're all still awake. I know I am.
Alive, awake, alert, enthusiastic here, Andy. Every time I see that handsome face, it just it makes me ready to talk some more football, but I don't like doing it with a huddle. So let's get right into some no huddle headlines, shall we?
We shall, and we'll start where we always start. Marion local, can't stop, won't stop. 61-0 win over Delphos St. John's tonight. That's 68 wins in a row, 52 straight in the regular season. So they keep rolling. The winning streak is longer than like points they can possibly start to score now. Like that's how long the streak has gotten. 68 wins in a row is just impressive. Speaking of streaks, road, sweet road. How about Minerva ending their 27-game road losing streak with a 47-12 win over Sandy Valley? We love seeing streaks come to an end, especially ones like on the futility side of things. That's just a great win for Minerva to finally get off the schneid. How about the game tonight between Shelby and Galleon? The Whippets remain perfect. They win 45-34. We were checking the score throughout our game, and it was back and forth all day or all night. And, you know, I saw they were down early, but Shelby, man, they just find a way to keep winning, and we'll see how Galleon responds now. I know last year this game sort of sent them into a bit of a tailspin. We'll see how they regroup next week. And how about perhaps one of the more surprising upsets of the night? The Smithies shocked the Bulldogs. That's a 35-19 win over Doughton. First win over them since 2016. And that's got the Smithies 4-0, and now a Hillsdale squad is going to go face that Doughton team next week, who is going to be very unhappy, and that should make for a very interesting matchup.
Yeah, how about the Falcons having to go on the road? And you always hate that anytime that an opponent, and especially a rivalry game, when they're coming off of one of those that they feel like they probably should have won and it just doesn't quite go their way. But the WCAL, it's going to be a lot of fun, man. Rittman also off to a 4-0 start, if nobody's noticing. So there's a few extra contenders, I think, within the WCAL that we didn't see the last couple of years, where it's been Norwayne kind of controlling everything. Hillsdale's been in it till the final day, but haven't been able to get over the hump. So I think that's going to be another really fun conference to keep an eye on before it all shakes down. But those are just a few headlines. Andy, who's got you feeling quite dandy tonight?
Oh, yes, we've got a few dandies here for you tonight. Don't you worry. We'll start. How about this performance tonight from Perry's Wyatt? I'm hoping I pronounced his last name right. Taviano, 46 carries. 46 carries, 257 yards, 3 touchdowns in a 28-0 win over Upper Scioto Valley. I mean, those numbers are. Did they run 46 plays of offense tonight? Like, I'm pretty sure he got the ball every single play tonight. What an impressive performance there from Perry's Wyatt Taviano. A huge matchup up here by the lake tonight between St. Ed's and Glenville. The number 1 team in Division I, the number 1 team in Division 4. St. Ed stays undefeated thanks to this big performance from Brandon White. 171 yards rushing, 3 second-half touchdowns as they get a huge win over Glenville. St. Ed's stays undefeated at 4-0. And how about, you want to talk about surprise teams? Let's go to Madison here. Colton Adkins, 2 rushing touchdowns, passing touchdown, and a pick 6 as the Rams win at Worcester for the first time since 2011. They beat Worcester last year for the first time since 2012. Now they finally get a win over in enemy territory. 28-17 was the final score for Madison there tonight. And then I'm giving love to kickers for my last 2 dandies. We saw Northwest, Travis and I did, against Louisville last week. They've got a kicker. Ben Shenz makes a game-winning 37-yarder as Northwest beats Triway 32-29. And the game I was at tonight, Hillsdale, A.J. Brown, a 45-yard field goal. Rumor has it from the press box folks that that's a school record, beating the previous record of 43 yards. Beautiful song. And the Falcons fly to 4-0 with a 53-0 win over Chippewa. And I'm just hoping, Brian, that the Cleveland Browns consider signing him and say, hey, can you meet us in Baltimore this weekend? I mean, his last name is Brown. I think it's just a perfect pairing.
Andy, I'm hearing more rumors that you're trying to spread out there about running clocks in first halves of high school games. What type of information do you have that we're not all privy to?
Oh, there's no information. You just sometimes try to will something into existence. You know what I mean? No, there was a situation in the game tonight between Hillsdale and Chippewa where it looked like the clock, I believe, started running when it shouldn't have in the first half. And I thought at some point maybe there had been a mutual agreement for there to be a running clock. But that was not the case.
Yeah, clearly not. So the WCAL, it looks like it's loaded in Hillsdale, getting it done, maybe setting school records tonight. I'm not trying to throw much shade, guys, but you see Madison getting a win over Worcester. That hasn't happened in a long time. And I'm looking at the OCC standings right now, and outside of Lexington and Ashland, who are on a collision course for Week 10, I mean, does anybody else deserve a win in this league? We've been covering high school sports in the OCC for a long time in this area. By far the worst that it's ever been, right, from top to bottom?
Absolutely.
I mean, Ashland last year, that was your surprise pick to win it all. This year, it's like Ashland's going to go undefeated, right? Like, they have to. There's nothing else in this
no
conference.
other option.
I saw Worcester against Orville in Week 1. They have themselves a tight end, but, I mean, Andy, other than that, like, Worcester did not impress me like Worcester of old.
Yeah, they looked. I mean, they had a new quarterback, freshman quarterback or first-year quarterback. I can't remember.
Too.
Yeah, they just didn't look like they had an identity yet as a team, and I mean, we saw them Week 1, so I was curious to see how things would progress throughout the season. But man, that's a tough loss today, and this is. I've been down there 10 years doing this. It's the worst I've seen the OCC. Yeah,
I mean,
without
only
question.
3 teams. You have Ashland, who's 4-0, like they should, but then West Holmes 3-1, and then Lexington. Maybe Lexington, who put up a 70 burger tonight. I wouldn't know the highlights. We weren't there. But Lexington, they're 3-1 as well. But that's the 3 teams, Ski. That's it.
And my poor color commentator, Effie James, at halftime of the last 3 weeks, he gets on his phone and he gets an update on the TY Tiger score, his alma mater, and I just always see Effie over in the corner just shaking his head. And 3 weeks in a row, he's back. This was supposed to be the one we were going to be competitive in. 38 zip at the break, Ski. And I don't have the words anymore for him. So Tigers fans, at least you haven't been shut out this season. You've scored once every week, so there is a glass half full situation, and they got New Philly, who's 1-3 coming up this next week. But you're looking for a silver lining, and maybe West Holmes can be that one other team that you're like, okay, because they're going up against a few other squads that just aren't quite up for the challenge this season, and they might be able to hang around to the end. But definitely Week 10, Ashland versus Lexington. It just almost feels like you've got the VCR, and you just want to fast forward to your favorite scene. Can we just get to the ending already? Not that you want to discount any of potential upsets, but it's just really hard to picture it considering a lot of the outcomes that we've seen so far this year.
Sad Effie just breaks my heart. That's like the saddest thing you could have told me of him. I can picture that, and I can hear him, and I'm just like, I'm hurting for him right now.
But you know what you probably can't picture? And here's a little anecdote that I'm sure he doesn't mind me sharing on air. His wife's going to be out of town this weekend, and Effie James, all by himself, the king of the castle with nobody home. You want to know how he's going to spend his entire day, what he's got 16 hours planned out for? Something that I did this summer, but I was shocked to hear from him. He's going to watch The Lord of the Rings, all of them, from end to end, cover to cover, without a break. He's going to order fast food. They're going to throw it through the window at him. That way he doesn't have to get off of the couch. He might have a catheter set up. And that is a long journey. I've been on it. I was talking Hobbish for a week. I couldn't get over it. So, my man,
Let's go.
I can't quite read what it says there, but that's how Effie's going to be talking coming up next week.
Oh, yeah. You got to go extended editions, Effie. I got them here, man. If you need them, just let me know. I'm all in. Absolutely. That's a beautiful thing to do.
Yeah, that looks like about 3 full days in the palm of your hand right there, Andy. So just a fun fact about Effie that I was a little bit surprised to hear tonight.
I love it.
Man, guys, what a fun-filled Friday yet again. I love getting the conference season underway. The first 3 weeks are always, it's cool. You're learning about the different storylines and maybe the new kids and the prospects. But once you start getting into the league play, this is when things really start taking off and you get an identity overall about what the picture of the season is going to look like. So it only gets better from here, boys. Looking forward already to week number 5. Halfway point is about to be here, Andy.
Fastest 10 weeks of the season, right? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Yesterday we were in Orville getting baked like we were in an oven because the sun was right in our face. Like
Getting baked at a high school, Travis? I know it's
I
late.
was wondering where this was going.
Not like that. Not like that.
It's okay. It's Ohio. We're cool now, guys. All right. I'm way past my bedtime. I got to get on the road here in a few hours, but this is what you guys can all look forward to coming up next week. Here are 7 of the 9 live games that we're going to have, and I think we've got 3 highlights as well, so you already know what it is. Nobody does more and covers a larger region than OH Report on a Friday night. We go from almost the dirty South down there where we have Evan, even though he actually made his college show tonight, all the way up to Lake Erie with Andy. So thanks for the time, both of you gentlemen. Andy, how are you going to spend your Saturday real quick?
Well, I think we've got it right here.
He's got it all figured out.
No, actually, I'm spending my Saturday by seeing Weird Al Yankovic tomorrow night at Blossom, baby. Let's go. So that'll be my Saturday.
And then, Travis, you supplemented a game Thursday to have your Saturday off. What beholdeth for you coming up?
It's my beautiful girlfriend, Kelly. She turned 33 on Wednesday, so we're going to go up to Cleveland. I think she wants to go to a winery for some wine tasting while I have the Backyard Brawl on my phone. But still, we're going to go wine tasting. We're going to go to dinner. We're staying at her friend's house. We're going to watch football on Sunday afternoon as the Steelers go 2-0. The Browns hopefully beat the Ravens. And then we're going to dinner at the Melting Pot up there.
Yeah, the Melt's actually completely out of business.
Melts are gone.
The Melting
Melts
Pot.
are gone.
Yeah, I missed the Melt, though. That was some good grilled cheese. But, yeah, girlfriend's birthday, but I still get a little college football in there, too. You know, Ohio State going to take care of business by 50 over Ohio and then things like that.
I don't know. I hear the Bobcats are a pretty tough challenge for some teams.
That line keeps dropping. That
Really,
line
does
keeps
it?
dropping, too. Yeah,
All right.
28.5 is the last I saw for
Hey,
Ohio
just watch
State.
out. Don't let your main wide receiver and running back get injured on personal foul penalties like they did last week. But that's all. So make sure Jeremiah Smith is safely, padded up and everything.
All right. If you hear that, Coach Day, make sure Jeremiah wears his shoulder pads out onto the field tomorrow as we say so long for another edition of the Friday Night Pigskin. But we'll be right back here next Friday night. See you then.
It didn't do it this time.